Hey, everybody, welcome back. Happy Skews Day to you. It is April 25th, 2023. I'm Trey Crowder, and that's Mark Agee. What's up, Mark?
What's up, Trey? How you doing, buddy? I watched the Grizzlies together last night. That wasn't
Hmm.
fun.
No, not looking good. Not looking
No,
good at all.
it was a
But I'm a
good.
Tennessee sports fan, so I'm very used to disappointment. So it's okay.
I'm a left-wing person in America, so I'm also used to disappointment
Yeah, that
outside of
too. I've
sports.
often drawn a parallel between the two experiences. Yes,
Yeah.
it do be that way.
Yeah, it was a big week, man. We got a lot to talk about. Joe Biden reannounced. Nothing. I mean,
Hmm.
announced he's running again. Nothing big to say there. It looks like 2024 is going to be a 2020 rematch,
Yep.
unless one of them dies. So we just keep living this same thing over and over again. I watched the 2016 Democratic primary get relitigated for going on 9 years now. And so it's just we're trapped in a fucking circle of hell, dude. I don't know. The time's a flat circle and all that shit.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, how do you feel about I was reading some stuff earlier about Biden's record and his perception or whatever about they've done this like polling and stuff about how most people view him as like a do nothing dud, like statistically most people do, but like
mhm.
you know he's gotten some shit done.
He's gotten a lot done.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of all of it, but it's like the stuff that's in his way. Like he was appointing judges at a record pace until Dianne Feinstein went brain dead. Uh, some of the stuff I'm not a huge fan of, but like he passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which has more for climate than anybody else has ever done. If courts let him do it and all that stuff, it's not all bad, but like you're not going to get. It's America. It's pretty impossible to be a good president.
Right.
So it's all choosing between the lesser two evils. There's uh, a scene in West Wing when President Bartlett has to do a war crime, and and he doesn't want to do it because it's evil. And
Sure.
his chief of staff is like trying to convince him he has to do it, and he's like, the Bartlett character is very Catholic, and he's like talking about why do I have to go to hell? And his answer is essentially because you won. Like he's
Hmm.
like you took an oath on the Bible to go to hell, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a deeply funny way to think about it. Uh, there's also more news of SCOTUS corruption. Turns out it wasn't just Clarence Thomas, who, by the way, lied. Harlan Crow did turn out have Trammell Crow had a case. They would make it to the Supreme Court where they were being sued, and Clarence Thomas did not recuse himself. So there you go. Also, it turns out Neil Gorsuch is running the same hustle. Somebody, a conservative billionaire who has business before the court, bought a house from him, which he made between 250 and $500,000 off of, and he did not disclose who the seller was. Oh, this is very fun. And Dick
Yeah.
Durbin was asked this week why he hasn't even invited Clarence Thomas to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee, and he was like, "Well, I just figured he'd say no." So there you go.
Right. I mean, I would be surprised if any of them at that level aren't. My assumption has long been that they're bought and paid for. So
Right.
in some capacity. So it's nice to see it confirmed,
It's
and
like why,
also
why
confirmation of the fact that it's totally fine apparently, and will continue to be so.
it's like why you never see congressional investigations and a naked insider trading among members of Congress. It's like because it would get a lot of people in both parties. Just be embarrassing for all of them. But yeah, a couple of senators, Ed Markey, Elizabeth Warren, and Representative, I can't think of her name right now, Alana Presley. They're doing like a nationwide buswide tour to try to draw attention to this stuff. And it's like, yeah, but like more of like you guys, good job, but like this is awful. Somebody should be fighting it.
Hmm.
If an unelected council of nine evil Sith lords is going to fucking make all their laws or strike down every law they don't like, even if it's good for people, then someone should hold them accountable to reasonable public standards. I think, but maybe I'm a left wing
Yeah,
lunatic, Trey. I don't know.
yeah. Sounds a little out there to me. You rein it in a little bit, Mark. Getting a little too
Yeah.
ambitious.
Mhm. E. Jean Carroll's lawsuit against Trump for sexual assaulting her in the mid '90s is headed. Started the trial started today. Um, it should be over quick. And it's basically come down to whether the way jury believes her and her witnesses or not, because Trump's not going to mount a defense because he doesn't have to. He's going to pick apart their witnesses. If you guys are familiar with the case, she alleges that Trump sexually assaulted her in the dressing room of a department store. in either 95 or 96. She doesn't really remember, which is one of the things Trump's lawyer is going to hammer over, because Trump, he made the fair point. This is that jackass Trumpico guy or whatever, that if you can't even allege that when it was, then how is he supposed to come up with an alibi? And that's like, okay, that's fair, but I don't blame her for not remembering the exact date 28 years later.
Mhm.
But so it's basically, the witnesses are her, two friends she told at the time, two other women who claim they were sexually assaulted by Trump in a very similar manner, and then like psychological experts and stuff. And there's also she has like a Lewinsky dress, which isn't going to be introduced in evidence for reasons I can't really figure it out, because she tried to get DNA sample for Trump for years, and then Trump declined, and then they did some sort of DNA test on it that showed there was no semen on it. So then Trump wanted to volunteer his DNA to try to disprove her, and the judge was like, fuck it with this dress. Y'all ran out of time. The trial starting. It did have a deeply. Trump is going to testify, but they're going to show footage from a deposition he gave in this case. And there's one deeply funny exchange where his excuse, going back to the beginning of this, was like he would never sexually assault her, essentially because he said she's not my type, but the tone of voice is like she wasn't attractive.
Yeah. Right.
And then her lawyer showed him a picture of E. Jean Carroll from the 90s and said, do you recognize this woman? And he goes, yes, that's my second wife, Marla Maples.
That's
So
classic Trump right there. It's also classic Trump that it's like, what the hell's going on with my hair? That he just the mountain of shit that he has done, the indiscretions and everything are so vast that it's like makes something like this, fly relatively under the radar, which is so wild considering it concerns an American president and sexual assault. But that's like his whole playbook, man. Just do so much terrible shit that it's hard for anybody to focus on any one item on the shit list.
Steve Bannon announced that was always their strategy: flood the zone with bullshit. It's his exact quote. And the more stuff, this is other stuff that happened this week. We're going to talk about in the main part of the show is Tucker Carlson got shit canned, and Elon Musk had perhaps the worst single day in the history of an individual since the dawn of capitalism. So let's that's gonna be fun to talk about.
Indeed, it is. So we also got a little bit of an update from Tennessee once again, right? It seems somebody's not doing so good on their decorum in the Tennessee House on the Republican side.
Yeah, so this guy named Scotty Campbell voted to expel all three of the Tennessee Three, who, by the way, were at the White House yesterday. Congrats to them. But he also voted not just the two guys who did get expelled, but also voted to expel your friend Gloria. And the turns out, while he was casting his votes, he had already been found guilty by a House ethics panel of sexually harassing multiple interns. All right. Now, he basically, it looks like he'd been sending them like perverted messages. And when it got found out by our old friends at News Channel 5, who just keep wrecking these assholes.
Keep showing up, baby. News Channel 5. Shout out once again. Keeping it real in Middle Tennessee.
I don't want to show this video because it's too long. It takes too long to get the punchline map. But so your buddy Phil Williams at News Channel 5, who we've shown footage of before, he confronts him outside the State House because he's got to hold a copy of one of the complaints against him, or one of the findings against him, and says, so it looks like you sexually harassed an intern. And then he responds real flop sweatily, yes, I sent some consensual messages to a few interns. Like, wait, a few? Like, he confessed to more crimes on camera. And
yeah, he also like couldn't have looked more uncomfortable. He was like, "Can you just give me like 5 seconds, please?" And he pulls his drink out and he's like shaking and takes a drink of it. He's like, so yeah, they were consensual adult conversations, and conversations can be consensual once that's been established. And yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah, so he like immediately resigned that afternoon, and no one would say why. I guess they were going to find out when they watched the 6 o'clock news. But so. And then one of the Justins, I forget which one, was trying to ask questions about it on the House floor, and he got like shut down. So they're still not letting them speak. It's all very gross. But anyway, more about Campbell. He represented Mountain City, Johnson County, and parts of Sullivan County.
Yeah, northeast Tennessee.
Is Johnson City in Johnson County?
I mean, I don't know for sure. I'm not sure what the county is up there. Johnson City's in like the Tri-Cities there in the northeast part of Tennessee, near Virginia.
I was only asking because my granny was from Johnson City. So his career. He's a professional wrestling promoter and owner of a wrestling company called Beside the Ring, and good for him. In June of 2013, he got to go on Monday Night Raw and he danced with the tag team Tons of Funk because he was the winning bidder for a Hurricane Sandy relief fund auction. So
Highlight of his
um,
life, buddy. Made it to the big show. Monday Night
yeah,
Raw. Yeah.
yeah. So shout out to Phil Williams, News Channel 5 for just continually ruining these fucks' lives.
Yeah. All right, let's get into it. With us, as always, is producer Matt. This is Weekly Skews. I do want to remind you before we continue, though, of a couple of things. First, if you want to see me live, go to TreyCrowder.com. Check out the upcoming dates. I'll be in Alabama this coming Thursday and Friday. Then me, Corey, and Drew will be in Little Rock, Arkansas together on April 29th. And I'll be back home in Tennessee next month. Looking forward to that. Asheville, a lot of other great dates coming up, and we're still adding more. So go to TreyCrowder.com. and come and see me. Also, you can check out my special, which is available on Amazon. It's called Damn Boy. If you go to TreyCrowder.com, you'll see a link for that as well. Lastly, if you enjoy this program and would like to show your support, you can do so by signing up on Patreon. You go to weeklyskews.com/more or go on Patreon and look me up. Either way, you'll find it. $5 on there gets you access to full-length bonus episodes like the one we're going to record later this very week. We've got a whole archive of them at this point and still making more. So we hope you will consider it. weeklyskews.com/more or go on Patreon and find me. $5 a month. Get some more skews in your life. Now, as for the show tonight, as Mark alluded to, we got a couple of big things for you. First, the seismic shift at Fox News as Tucker Carlson is unexpectedly ousted on Monday morning. Speculation runs rampant. We will add to that a little later. And then Elon Musk's terrible, horrible, no good, very bad day/week as his blunders continue to mount. So that should all be fun. But first, we begin with the Daily Dumbass. Matt, graphic, please. Tonight's DD, trans women for not being dainty femmes like one Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Meow. Here we go. This is real.
America presents Real Women of Politics.
Real women of politics.
Today, we salute all the real woman leaders of this great country.
Real women don't have to fake it.
Real women. Doing real things.
Real women work too hard for this.
Some big companies can't tell the difference between real and fake anymore.
Real people know the difference.
That's why we're introducing the Real Women of Politics koozie.
Real women.
All right, you cut it, Matt. So I have some legal questions about this because they're spoofing a Bud Light commercial and parodies protected speech, but they're also selling koozies.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's legal, but I'm not a lawyer. Anyway, somebody sue them. This is like,
How did they pick the four that got on board? You know what I mean? Like Lauren Boebert, too much of a dumbass, a dingbat, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, not on the. You know what I mean? How'd they land on
four
these
Republican women
four
governors?
Governors, they're all governors specifically.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
I think that was maybe the thought process. Maybe it's coordinated through the Republican Governors Association or something. So there's still like this is what week 5 with this dumbass moral panic, and I again the Bud Light thing relates to one ad posted by a transgender influencer, and no one else saw it except them and this person's followers, and. Last night, a Florida restaurant owner went on Fox and said the last 2 weeks were the most difficult of his life because he was so torn over whether or not to continue selling Bud Light. What
That's
the
gotta
fuck
be
is
tough, man?
Oh,
Keeping you up at night. Do I or do I not continue to sell Bud Light at fucking, Joe's Parrot Shack in Panama City Beach or whatever this guy's doing? Like,
if you're up all night thinking about somebody else's genitals, maybe just go jerk off so you can fall asleep. What I would fit, this is also fucking dumb. But they're fully all in on this shit. Like, there's this thing that happened. Let's watch a little bit of this video, Matt. We don't need to watch all of it because it's fucking dumb.
America's been drinking beer from a company that doesn't even know which restroom to use. That's why I created Conservative Dad's Ultra Right 100% woke-free beer. As conservatives, we're constantly getting hit in the face, left and right, by the woke mind virus.
All right,
The
you
last
cut it
place
back.
we want it.
The woke mind virus. Yeah.
So
Also,
this
like
is the dip.
trans people do know which bathroom to use,
Right.
like it's
Mhm.
just they're just not allowed to in certain places or whatever, but it's not that they not
Right.
that they don't know. I knew as soon as, and I'm not just saying this, like as soon as I saw this was becoming a thing, I was waiting on this right here. You know what I mean? Like I knew I was like, well, there's going to be, Patriot Ale or something, which I guess Sam Adams has got that on lock, but like I knew,
Uh-huh.
something like this was coming. So I'm not surprised at all. Though I guess it's not been smooth sailing for Dad's ultra right beer. Is that correct?
No. Yeah, this guy, by the way, his name is Seth Weathers. He's a grifter. He previously sold Let's Go Brandon wrapping paper at Christmas. So we needed to find a brewery to make this beer because he doesn't know how to make beer. He doesn't know how to make videos. So he found one and immediately announced they were partnering with him, but they hadn't agreed to anything. And so they announced once they figured out who he was, like, no, we're not making this fucking trash ass beer for this asshole. So his plan immediately fell apart. So he still doesn't have anybody to make the beer. But that's not even really his biggest problem. Let me read this headline to you. Ultra Right Beer says it will ship its woke-free beer straight to you. That's illegal in Illinois. And I was like, that was a local Illinois headline. Well, I just Googled this guy's name and the name of the beer company. I was like, I wonder what's it like in other states. There's only 7 states in D.C. where you can have beer or liquor mailed to you.
Yeah,
so
that would seem to be a limiting factor for his business model.
So he announced he was going into this business without Googling, is my business legal?
Also, dude, he charges $20 plus shipping and handling for a 6-pack. Like, if there's actual rednecks out there who are doing that, then like I truly don't know who these people are anymore. Do you know what I mean? Because that was like that's the fucking the audacity of a beer company to charge $20 for a 6-pack. That's like that's like European microbrew shit right there. Like we can't have that's not American at all. Get the fuck out of here. I can't imagine even the most hardcore conservative beer drinking papaw going for that. But maybe I'm wrong. Like maybe I've lost touch with them.
Like constantly act like we're like a fat libby coastal elite assholes for like going to Starbucks. A venti Starbucks is $3.25, right? And then this guy's selling $4.50 shit beer per can, and like what's the last? It's been a while since I bought a 6-pack of beer.
Me too, actually.
That'd be like super high priced IPA prices, right?
Yeah, I know that's what I'm saying. Yeah, like yes,
yeah,
that's like high end shit, and that it's not. Well, I was gonna say it's not high end in terms of quality, but like, so does it even exist yet? Because like he can't find a brewery to make it, right? So it's like it's just a concept right now.
Yeah,
you can't even drink. Whatever it ends up being, it's not going to be good.
It's going to end up being a GoFundMe to research the scalability of this business idea, and he's going to pocket and go. But anyway,
also just like woke free beer. It's just such a stupid thing. Like this is truly the dumbest timeline we live in. It's like hops, barley, malt, and zero wokeness.
It's also like upside down because people
that makes it good.
People drink to forget about the world's problems, and here's one that's organized solely around the world, like what you see as the world's problems. So I don't understand any of this. But so this guy's job is like a MAGA fitness influencer. Like he does Instagram like workout routines where he also teaches people nutrition, like that are focused around, I'm quoting here, unlearn government lies about nutrition. So I don't know what the fuck that means. But anyway,
like you can eat cheeseburgers despite what that Damon Michelle Obama used to say. Like that's the last time I can remember government nutrition being a thing was Michelle Obama just trying to get kids to be less fat, and everybody was like, "Get the fuck out of here, that commie bullshit." I'm giving mine gravy right now. You can kiss my ass.
I mean, the Department of Agriculture does like encourage people to put corn syrup in everything and fucking push milk,
and,
so like
milk, and also and also like I've thought before about like the food pyramid. Remember the food pyramid? Like we were taught that as like the gospel or whatever when we were kids. It's like make sure you get your 6 servings of pasta and or bread a day, in addition to 3 steaks, 4 apples, and however else it works. And it's like 6 servings of bread. Like that's And they put those in school books, man. We're like, this is the thing. And then then the big milk getting in there, what sugar did to fat. I'm sure you're aware of that, a crime, a travesty, what sugar did to fat. Big sugar demonizing fat forever unfairly. So there's been some bullshit where nutrition is concerned from the top in this country, but I don't trust this guy to set them straight.
Nope, me neither. Good luck to you, Seth.
All right. Honorable mention for Daily Dumbass is anybody who refuses to have their dog put down in order to focus on this quarter's TPS reports. This is from a Utah-based digital marketing company's CEO statement last week.
I'm all in what we're doing here at ClearLink, and I want you to know it and feel it, because this is what we do. And I've sacrificed, and those of you that are here have sacrificed greatly to be here as well, to be away from your family. I learned from one of our leaders that in the midst of hearing this message, went out and sold their family dog, which breaks my heart as someone who's been, at the head of the humanization.
So let me tell you
he made him come back to work, right?
Right.
Like they had been working remotely. He wasn't having it, couldn't have it. A lot of these CEO types can't stand the thought of remote work because they're just utterly convinced of everybody's inherent laziness and worthlessness. So they decided to make them come back to work. Somebody, in order to do that, to keep working there, had to get rid of their dog. And he's like, now see, that's the type of self-starting ambition we support here at ClearLink Inc. or whatever the hell it's called. So he said some other wild shit too.
Yeah, he waxed skeptically on the compatibility of working full time with serving as a primary caregiver to your child. He's basically saying that he doesn't want parents. He doesn't want people without stay-at-home parents. The other partner staying home with the kid working for the company. He accused 30% of his staff of not having even opened their laptop for the last 30 days, which that feels like a fireable offense if you knew that. He's just like this deeply paranoid fucking weirdo. He wondered aloud if remote employees were secretly working multiple jobs, and which is like, if they're doing their job, that's none of your fucking business, buddy.
Exactly.
So yeah, he talked about the Judeo-Christian work ethic. He encouraged them to use ChatGPT to get their productivity up, which is a bad idea. He's talking about like the office copywriters, like using ChatGPT to fucking to increase their productivity 30 to 50 times. So no one's going to be proofreading a robot.
30 to 50 times productivity increase. But it's also, I've just always with this shit, it's like these people have responsibilities, right? They have whatever their job is. They have shit they're supposed to get done. Is that shit getting done? Because if it is, then just fuck off with the rest of that shit. And if it's not, take corrective action or whatever. But that's literally as simple as the equation should be to me. But these people, these bosses and the high-level managers and shit, they just can't stand that. They can't stand the thought of someone not slaving away endlessly, regardless of what their, actual job responsibilities require or whatever.
There's like real monetary stuff here too. I want to say, like, besides, like, it saves a lot of money on childcare if you can be home when your kids leave for school and when they get home from school, right?
Yeah.
And people pointed that out because they got to pay for additional childcare. And he said that he didn't even like employing mothers, basically, because it could be done, but it had so much stress to the working mother's life that I never want to put it on anyone. Additionally, he said it could be argued that having a full-time job and serving as primary caregiver is, quote, neither fair to your employer nor fair to your children. He put employer first. So I just want to say congrats to the next mom he fires on winning a huge lawsuit. So I started wondering, what does ClearLink even do? I went and read their entire fucking website, and I could not tell you. But let me try to quote what they say they do. It's like tech-involved internet marketing or something. Quote, we connect over 75 million high-value customers with the world's leading brands. Across verticals and channels, we provide advertisers new and engaged audiences. So essentially he's saying here, sacrifice your marriage and kids and kill your dog so we can provide advertisers new and engaged audiences across verticals and channels. Guillotine.
Are they selling ad space on podcast or something? Like what? I don't know any of that means either. But
but the part that was a real kicker to me for me to this is like some local web blog in Utah, like a business publication. They're asking all these CEOs to write puff pieces about themselves, about how they became so successful. And his origin story is, in college, I learned that I wanted to be my own boss while working for an extremely difficult manager. This was the kind of boss about which they make movies. Okay, well, he's being Lumbergh from Office Space.
Right. Imagine what that guy was like. All right, our final honorable mention for Daily Dumbass is Meatball Ron, for thinking he can just turn into bobblehead Ron just by looking like an idiot. This is Spaghetti Man Ron DeSantis in Japan.
Governor, old show you falling behind Trump. Any thoughts on that?
Guys, did
I'm not a candidate, so we'll see if and when that changes.
So the video chopped up there, but he was doing some deeply weird shit with his neck and head. It's like this guy. When I joked the other week about how he's not ready for prime time, this wasn't even this was kind of the most people were calling this his Howard Dean moment because it's so deeply weird.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
you can see it there. Matt went back. It's like it's a almost uncanny valley looking thing, even though he's a real person. It's like he's short circuiting or something.
Yeah, it looks like one of the singing gorilla at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
So he also today he went on Hannity and his advanced people or press people had him set up he was the outdoor doing a hit outdoors talking to camera, and they set him up looking directly into the sun where he couldn't see and he was just squinting. It's like these people are fucking like it's like no chance, calling it, no chance.
That's hilarious. Yeah, dude, I can't remember like a fall. I don't know if it's a fall from grace, but he feels like he never really even got off the starting line. Like just what I definitely feel like I had gotten the wrong impression about that. I thought this dude was like, I thought he was like the next dude. You know what I mean? Like for sure. And he's just getting smoked. Like I don't know. I thought he was their guy and he just ain't got it.
He flew to some sort of fundraiser in like Nebraska or something, and he met with Lee Zeldin, who's a congressman, and Lee Zeldin shook his hand, took his money, walked out front, and said, "I endorse Trump." Nobody likes this motherfucker.
No, I mean, yeah, and obviously, fuck Trump to death too. But this is still fun. I still do enjoy this.
So. If you can't enjoy the downfall of shitty people who are not going to get to live their one dream, then what else are you going to enjoy nowadays in American politics? Speaking of which, Tucker Carlson got shit canned, Trey.
Yep. If you didn't do it, I was going to do it. So yeah, good job.
So it turns out this was Tucker Carlson's last 30 seconds on Fox.
What a great way to end a week. Yeah. Truly, that was a great segment, and I'm just grateful that you came on, and I'm especially grateful for the pie.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate
it. Employee of the week, we're going to make it of the year, Tyler Morrell of Coco's Pizza. That's it for us for the week. We'll be back. By the way, the entire episode of Let Them Eat Bugs, not quite as good as pizza, streaming now on Fox Nation. Use the promo code ORIGINALS for 30 days free. And we'll be back on Monday. In the meantime,
got it, Matt.
Wait,
we'll be back on Monday.
Let them eat bugs is not going to be is it going to be a casualty of this affair? Because I'd hate for that to happen. I'd hate for the people to miss out on Let Them Eat Bugs, whatever that is.
I just thought this was the perfect way for him to go out, like doing a segment about anti-woke pizza or something. Plug in an InfoWars level documentary about the New World Order wants you to eat bugs. Announcing he'll be back Monday, and then immediately fall into an opening manhole and dying. So a couple of things when I saw this news. I saw one, I thought it was fake for a bunch of obvious reasons, but also the way our current media environment's working with changes that have been made to Twitter. It's real easy to get fake news trending, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But people had let's talk about. I want to talk about all the people that are very upset. I saw a bunch of people online canceling their Fox News digital subscriptions. Lauren Boebert was super pissed off. Marjorie Taylor Greene made a video about it. Glenn Greenwald made a bunch of posts about it. All very mad and sad. Plus, this obituary from a leading luminary of freedom and intellectual discourse.
Perhaps it would be useful to consider how things are with freedom of speech in the United States. I've heard that Tucker Carlson has left Fox News. It's curious news. What is this related to? One can only guess. But clearly, the wealth of views in the American information space has suffered as a result.
All right, okay, back. That's Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, lamenting the death of free speech in America. So that was the reaction on the right and whatever you want to call Russia. I saw two main immediate reactions from liberals and left wingers. One, Tucker left voluntarily to go make more money elsewhere, which was probably not possible, but also unlikely because of the sequence of events. And yes, it did turn out he was in fact shit canned. He did not leave voluntarily, and I seriously doubt he'll still make a great living, but I don't think he'll be able to make as much money as he made on Fox or have the reach he had on Fox, because all the people who have left there. What's Bill O'Reilly doing now? He has like a YouTube show or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Bill, I made a video about this today, and I brought that up to. I mean, we were talking about it last night, but yeah, like Megyn Kelly, Glenn Beck, whatever. Like, it seems like. I mean, Tucker, I guess, was on a whole. I don't know. Bill O'Reilly was like the dude for a very long time there. I mean, he was Tucker Carlson before Tucker Carlson. And like you said, I mean, he's nowhere near as relevant anymore. So, I mean, I guess I'm holding out hope that that's how it goes for Carlson, too. But I could see him, starting a podcast or something. And I don't think it'll be that big of a,
I think he has a podcast. Like on our text chain, Drew compared his popularity to like Bill Simmons, and I was like, no, Bill Simmons is way more popular than Tucker Carlson. Like, they were talking about that in the context of Corey doesn't get a $200 million contract on Spotify, like Rogan and Bill Simmons both did, and it's like, no, it's not, because you can go. His power is not because he has a huge audience, so there's the largest on cable news, but that's a very relative term. It's still lower rated. It's still like a ninth of the ratings of Young Sheldon or some shit. But like these powers over the Republican Party, because he can make you lose a primary election to some psycho right winger. That's really his power here. But the other take was not, the first one was him leaving to make more money. The second was, this is awesome, America's democracy saved. I'm like, that's also seems
no.
They'll replace him with somebody who's
for sure
also bad. I don't think it can possibly be as bad because Tucker is supremely talented at this, and also his brain appears to be absolutely broken the same way that Alex Jones's is. Like that eat bugs thing is like seriously just straight off of InfoWars, and that's what he was good at, was laundering InfoWars shit into the American political mainstream. So yes, I'm super fucking glad it's gone. So I was thinking about how this could possibly be his downfall, and because I immediately thought must have been something huge we didn't know. Like he was about to be arrested for child molesting or something. And Fox News, because he just lost a big defamation suit, they want to let him go back on the air and say his arrest was a deep state conspiracy. That's literally where my brain went like at first.
Yeah.
But then that turns out probably to not be true, because it looks like
it's funny. You sound like kind of disappointed a little bit.
A little bit. Not that the kids weren't molested, but that he's not going to jail.
Yeah.
So the other third reaction was from QAnon people, because he was eating pizza in the last time he was on TV. So that was a message about Pizzagate. QAnon people love
pizza. Yes, pizza's huge in the conspiracy world. So what was that supposed to mean, that he's eating pizza? That he's like been gotten to by the cabal or something?
Trey, don't do it.
Okay.
Don't.
I can't help it.
You're doing it. You're trying to make sense of it. It's like this is the same group of people that harassed Chrissy Teigen off the internet because she took a selfie eating pizza at like an Oscars after party, and they thought it was a coded message about molesting kids. But I think nominally they're sort of alluding to it's about this. Here's a headline for the New York Times. In a lawsuit, Tucker Carlson's accused of promoting a hostile work environment. This is a lawsuit filed last month by a woman named Abby Grossberg, who worked as a booker on Tucker's show and a couple other shows. And she says she has a bunch of recordings of them making anti-woman and anti-Semitic jokes, which, obviously.
So you're telling, right? That's what I was about to say. Like, that's actually a problem at Fox News. Like, Fox News will fire you for that. Like, I thought, I would have thought that was just the standard there. Daddy Rupert sets the standard. Like, it's like, oh, you mean to tell me the fucking higher ups at Fox News are, anti-woman and anti-Semitic and racist and hate minorities and all that shit? It's like, the hell you say? I know that still doesn't make it okay in an office environment or professional environment, but I'm just saying, like you said, well, yeah,
But Trey, it's not the sexism. It's the money. It's the money he's going to cost. Like he replaced Bill O'Reilly, who was fired because he got sued for sexual harassment.
Right.
So, so this is part of it, but also like this is happening in the background of the Dominion lawsuit that they settled last week for like what $800 million it cost them for Tucker's lies and all the stuff that came out there came out in Tucker's text messages. We'll get to more of that in a second, but like he cost them a bunch of money, and it's possible they've been wanting to fire him for a while for that, but doing it before the lawsuit was resolved would result in a situation where a disgruntled, fired ex-employee was going to be on the stand testifying, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So case resolved that. So maybe that, but also the text messages, there's a lot of emails, there's a lot of insubordination. Like Rupert Murdoch was literally ordering them to tone it down, and they were not. And Tucker was being flippant, basically saying "fuck Rupert." And bosses do not like being told to go fuck themselves.
No, especially somebody like Rupert Murdoch, dude. You know that guy's like a fucking, ego-driven monster. I mean, you'd have to be in that position, and also still he's like 90, right? Like the fact that he's still like active in this way, like tells you, like he's the dude there. That's what I kind of wondered if like, Tucker was getting a little too big for his britches or whatever. And that, like he was the guy. He was like, no, this is my network. I'm the dude here. And Rupert Murdoch, he don't play that. Like you remember when he's the guy. Nobody's bigger than him or bigger than the brand type of thing. Right.
It's like when Chuck Lorre fired Charlie Sheen off 2.5 Men when it was the #1 show on television for being a pain in the ass. He was being too big for his britches. Bosses have to. We'll get on some respect my authority type shit, whether it's making you kill your dog to come back to the office or firing you when they #1 show on their network. But then I read this story in the Vanity Fair this afternoon, which makes a pretty good case. This is just about Rupert Murdoch finding Tucker kind of personally annoying. So they went to they were at the same function on Friday night, and Tucker gave a speech that was like really laced with like apocalyptic, like Christian religious rhetoric. And that stuff does not hit for Rupert Murdoch, who's just like, a libertarian Australian dude. But also, let me read the description of Tucker's speech. Carlson told the Heritage audience that national politics has become a Manichean battle between good and evil. Carlson said that people advocating for transgender rights and DEI programs want to destroy America, and they could not be persuaded with facts. The answer was prayer. I mean, that's basically what he says on his show outside of the prayer stuff. So it's just the prayer stuff that doesn't hit for Murdoch. But here's the part that really made me laugh. Rupert Murdoch had recently engaged to a woman for 2 weeks and abruptly called it off. All right. So his ex-girlfriend was a huge Tucker Carlson fan. So Rupert was perhaps unnerved by Carlson's messianism because it echoed the end times worldviews of his ex-fiancée Ann Leslie Smith, the source said. In my May cover story, I reported that Murdoch and Smith called off a 2-week engagement because Smith had told people Carlson was a messenger from God. So
maybe that's also a part, like he's just jealous or something,
He dumped this woman for being a religious zealot psycho. Then he goes and sees Tucker talk like her and reminds him of his crazy ex-girlfriend. He's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm dead.
Well, but also his ex-girlfriend was literally telling people, presumably in front of him, she's telling people Tucker Carlson is, a gift from God or whatever. And I'm sure that also don't sit well with a dude like Murdoch. So probably a little bit of everything, I would imagine.
Yeah. Anyway, rest in peace, Tucker. Hope I never hear from you ever again. Even though we're losing a lot of great content from stupid shit you said. So,
well, again, I guess, dude, they'll fill that in. Like
tonight's guest host. Tonight's guest on that time slot is Brian Kilmeade, probably the dumbest human being who's still able to tie his own shoes in America. So yeah.
All right. Well, now let's talk about Elon. Why not? How's he doing,
dude? He had one of the worst last week. He had one of the worst weeks in the history of business, like ever, outside of somebody who just died at work. And it touches a lot of shit in various corners of America in a lot of different hilarious ways. So I just wanted to talk about it. So he lost $13 billion in 24 hours. Now that $13 billion seems like a low estimate to me for reasons I'll talk about. But like, we are told over and over again that rich people are rich because they're smarter and more hardworking than we are.
Right.
And yet, if he's smarter than me for making $13 billion, I would just like to point out that I have never lost $13 billion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? this is all so fucking stupid. Like the $13 billion doesn't include the money he's lost on Twitter. It's just about Tesla stock losses and his rocket blowing up for SpaceX.
So okay, the SpaceX rocket. All right, before we get into it, I'm rocket dumb, but I do like space shit, like all that. You know, I'm a big proponent of that. I want us as a species, I'd like for us to continue to do that. It pisses me off that this dude is at the forefront of it just because of how much he seems to suck. But I saw that the rocket took off and then experienced rapid unscheduled disassembly, which is a funny way of saying it blew the fuck up, right? But I saw a lot of people, a lot of other space people, astronauts and people like that. I saw afterwards still saying like, no, don't worry about that part, like that, which is a wild thing to say about a rocket exploding. But like this is great. This was a tremendous accomplishment. This was awesome. Like despite the fact it exploded, sure, this was really good. I saw a lot of people saying that. So
yes, if you squint and look at it just the right way, it was a huge success. It was the biggest rocket ever launched, and they got it off the ground. All right. So yes, an accomplishment. But I am super into space stuff, and I wish we still heavily invested in NASA.
Me too.
Elon is getting government funding to privately own this shit, and he's fucking it up. And I'll tell you, like, because science involves failure is true, and I do want to talk about that. But let's talk about the specific failure here, because this is what makes it so fucking stupid. The government gave him $1 billion to do this, and I'll watch this video of the rocket blowing up first, because then we can talk about what it means.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
That's a lot of fire dust, Fred.
Yeah, that's a big ass
drop. All right, you cut it. So right after that, I didn't want to show the other videos because it has like it's like a woman who works for Elon narrating. He was talking about what a tremendous victory for science is, and I'm like, I'm not doing that propaganda for him, but like it tumbled end over end and then blew up. Neither of which is supposed to happen. But since they're bragging about the takeoff, let's talk about the takeoff for a second. Because one of the reasons there's all that debris, and by the way, it spread for miles, like set off car alarms like 20 miles away, covered people's shit in dust. There's like science worries about what would happen to people who breathed all this shit in. And if you're wondering why there was so much shit, there's stuff you're supposed to do before you launch a rocket. And again, I'm rocket science dumb. I'm just telling you what I read, I'm regurgitating what I read here. You're supposed to either dig a big trench to try to catch some of this, or use like some sort of water system to like try to contain it somehow. He didn't do any of that, because he was in a hurry to launch on 420.
Dude, it continuously amazes me that this is the richest man on earth. Like, and you know, by that measure, the most successful man alive is just such a, you know, sophomoric troll at every turn. I know, like it fucking taking the W out of Twitter on their company's head, you know, main signage. So it says tit. He like, I know that they'll respond to journalists who request comments. They'll just send back poop emojis. Like that's their comment is poop emoji. And now he forewent many safety precautions in launching the world's biggest rocket because he wanted to get it up on Weed Day. That's it's a real shame, honestly. Like it's so disappointing. Like this dude's supposed to be like a fucking real life Tony Stark or something, and he's just I don't know who that. He's just fucking Logan Paul with hundreds of billions of dollars or whatever.
I mean, he's weird. He's the ironic thing we talked about before about naming his company Tesla is that he's Thomas Edison, taking credit for a bunch of other people's work, but including Tesla's. So this destroyed the launch platform. It's going to take a year to rebuild. NASA has grounded him for any more test flights. So if you want to call this a success, first of all, we got to wait and see how many people in this fucking town get cancer from breathing in all that goddamn space dust around Boca Chica, Texas. Which, by the way, this whole SpaceX facility has been a huge environmental disaster. This guy paints himself as environmentalist, is using like his cover is like this green energy titan to like drill for natural gas on his property in areas that used to be protected wetlands. He's just a fucking fraud. That's one thing that makes me so mad about him. But yeah, so this getting off the ground was a success. Everything else about it's a huge failure, and you can't really learn from it because he's not going to be able to replicate this experiment for the foreseeable future because he's grounded and he destroyed his own platform because he wanted to launch on Weed Day. All right,
Also, just the fact that he gets so much government money or whatever, it's like, why not just give that to NASA? I mean, I know the philosophy with the government is like, private industry, more efficient, creates jobs, whatever, instead of giving it straight to the government, just as a general rule of thumb.
That's more efficient.
But it's still, no, I'm not saying that it is. I'm just saying that because I used to work in government contracting. Like, I know that, that's part of the whole, like I said, philosophy of the government when it comes to accomplishing that, you contract out to private businesses and use taxpayer dollars on it. But Elon taking all that taxpayer money to, fulfill his little rocket fantasies and stuff. And then remember the whole thing with NPR, he labeled them state funded media or whatever as like a takedown or whatnot. And it's like, you're state funded Rockefeller, you know what I mean? Yeah. But you're a free speech warrior.
Tesla would have been out of business in 2008 if Obama didn't give them a bunch of money. And it's a good thing that we invest in electric vehicles and electric vehicle research. That's good. That was a good thing for President Obama to do. This is a rich guy playing around with toys he can't figure out how to work. And NASA should be doing this shit, so we all own it. So we get the Tang, we get the GPS shit. Like we talked about this before, but if they privatized NASA in the 60s, we'd all be subscribing to GPS to get around or navigate with things. So this is all it's all ridiculously bad and stupid. So let's talk about Tesla now for a second, because a few updates there about how he's running this. Again, the premise of this segment is like, why the fuck is this dude rich? I don't understand it. But have you been following the Emerald Mine thing?
Yeah, so I know that. So he said he's always been defensive about the emerald mine. People say Elon got started out with his father money from his father's emerald mine in Africa, which is like that was a rough ass place. Any kind of mine in Africa owned by a fucking rich white dude, not great. But anyway, that's what people always said, and Elon got defensive about it. So I guess last week or sometime recently, he said, "I will give 1 million Dogecoin to whoever can prove to me that this emerald mine existed." And then his father, who owned the emerald mine, said, could I get in on that? Because I can prove it existed. And also, it existed, and you've always known it existed. So, yeah.
So if you're not familiar with Elon's backstory, so his dad stood trial for murder. He doesn't appear to have been a great dad. He's married to, I think, a girl who used to be his stepdaughter or something like that. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, he killed the guys he killed, I guess, were breaking into his house, but he's still tried for murder because maybe he asked them to come over and killed them. I don't know. Anyway, he claims he won this emerald mine in a card game and got rich off of it. And Elon used to be open about coming from money, but then he started wanting to tell the story about himself about coming from nothing. So even though he's talked about being the son of a emerald tycoon before, now he's literally tweeting, "I don't know where the emerald story came from, but when you've talked about it." So yeah, his dad gave that interview. Was like, he knows had an emerald mine. He's like, when he was in college here, he was crying because someone stole his bicycle. So I said, "Do you want to go to America?" And he said yes, to go to school. And so I gave him a bunch of money from the emerald mine to go to school in America. And so he's just continuing lying about this shit for reasons. So what's going on with Tesla is really, really struggling. The stock price is down 65% since its peak in a couple of years ago. So what they're trying to do is Tesla tries to get owners to give up unlimited free supercharging for life. So the current business model is, that thing you paid for? Our business plan is to now stop doing it. So things are going great over there. There's another headline about Tesla. Tesla shareholder group complains Elon Musk is too distracted to run company. And I should say,
what would give them that idea? Is it the incessant shit posting that he does all goddamn day?
He's on Twitter 24/7. Yeah, he's on Twitter 24/7. So they're absolutely not wrong. And I want you to watch this video because this is what he's spending his time doing instead of running any of his fucking 12 companies, a lot of whom take government money and are publicly traded.
I mean, the urge to have sex and to procreate is, after breathing and eating, the most basic urge. Yes. How has it been subverted?
Well, it's just in the past, we could rely upon, simple limbic system rewards in order to procreate.
It's still not coming.
But once you have birth control and abortions and whatnot, now you can still satisfy the limbic instinct, but not procreate. So we haven't yet evolved to deal with that. because this is all fairly recent, last 50 years or so.
That's like literally the exact same stance that like super hardcore Catholics and like the quiverful religious fanatics, like what the Duggars are, like no sex without procreation. Like that's hardcore religious fundamentalism. It's the exact same thing that he is saying there. It's pretty wild. Also, he just needs more slaves or whatever. Like, so, don't stop producing or reproducing. I mean,
yeah. So his entire business empire is collapsing. This is our money, by the way. This is our fucking money. It's taxpayer money he's wasting. It's like publicly in people that have money in the market or mutual funds money. And he's going on Twitter, Tucker Carlson, to talk about coming. And he's using a bunch of big science words, but what he's saying is stupid. I know what he's trying to say, that like we've disconnected pleasure sex from procreation through abortion and birth control. But he says those things are new. They're not new. People have been pulling out since the dawn of time. Abortion, they're like abortions for recipes for abortion in the Old Testament. And
you go to you go to the medicine lady or whatever, and she makes you a moon tea, or whatever, like that. Always.
Yeah, there's this there's this thing going on in Silicon Valley where they have this movement where they need to outbreed the poor people because they're the elites. So he has 9 kids by this point.
10, I think.
Something like that. And this story also dropped today. Google co-founder Brin deals a blow to Musk and Tesla. Sergey Brin reportedly sold a large chunk of Tesla stock at the time. His wife had allegedly had an affair with the EV maker CEO Elon Musk. So Tesla stock was $319 at the time Sergey Brin sold. It's currently trading at $165. So he's helped spark a stock price drop of 65% because Elon fucked his wife. Do you think that was procreative sex, Trey?
Yeah, probably not.
But like going back to Rupert, whatever his reason to fire Tucker was, and the CEO of Clearlink, like our lives are in these people's hands to a fucking significant degree. Like Tesla's stock price drop means a lot of people lost money out of the retirement funds, right? Mm-hmm. And when the stock gets low enough because it can't move money around to be liquid anymore, that means Tesla lays people off. So the sequence of events here is Elon launches rocket on 420 and it blows up half of Texas. He fucks one woman at a party. Stock price drops. Guy gets laid off. Is filing for unemployment and telling his kid he can't have new shoes for school this year, right?
Yeah, I mean it's that Matt Damon soliloquy when he's getting interviewed for the job in Good Will Hunting. Remember that? Mm-hmm. Like how these big puppet masters, fuck everybody over with all their machinations and shit. And when one of them is so demonstrably like childish and everything, it's alarming and upsetting.
He has control over Ukraine's military communications.
Right. Yeah.
Like no one man should have this much fucking power. It's like it especially not one this fucking stupid. If you want to have an argument for Joe Biden seizing a few whole industries and making them state owned, here's a good argument for it right here. But Elon's just a walking advertisement for it. All right, let's talk about Twitter last. That's sort of the most fun one because it's So the $13 billion that he lost in that one day does not include however much money he's constantly losing at Twitter because he bought it for $44 billion. The latest valuation was $20 billion. He also owes like $1 billion of interest every month or something. So I don't know what he's fucking doing. But I'm going to explain a little bit about how Twitter works, but it's not even really about Twitter. It's about bending reality here because one of the big changes he's made, besides like letting Nazis back on and disinformation artists back on and scammers and spammers back on and like reducing content moderation so Nazis can yell at you that you should die. He also has removed the legacy verification system.
The blue check mark.
Right.
So I feel obligated to say. So people that don't know, they used to pre-Elon, there was a Twitter Blue subscription service, which used to be $3 a month. And what that allowed you to do is it allowed you to post longer tweets, but for me, importantly, longer videos, because I put my rant videos on all the different platforms, and paying for that before Elon ever got there allowed me to put the same video I put on Instagram and TikTok and whatever. I put them all, they're all the same. I don't have to edit them for different platforms and all that shit, which was worth $3 to me. So I was paying for Twitter Blue already, and I was verified already. Elon comes in, fucks everything up, takes everybody's checks away unless they pay for Twitter Blue. So now Twitter Blue has become about the check mark, which it never was for me. And I was paying for it already. And now the only people that are paying for the check mark are tools and dipshits. And now here I'm sitting with a fucking check mark just because I want to post the type of video I want to post. And it's really pissing me off on a personal level, Mark. Also, it's like all my verified notifications I get now are all just from fucking mouth breathers. Hating and everything, and it's just a shit show. It's an abject shit show over on Twitter at present.
Right. And the reason I thought Tucker's firing was fake for a couple hours is because no reporters are verified anymore, so I can't tell who's a real person. So it's really easy to gin up a fake news story. But it doesn't really matter if Tucker's fired. But they're like government accounts are verified too. And we're talking about university accounts that tell students when to shelter in place because of a mass shooting.
Right.
All right. So those are also unverified. So now anybody with $8 can pretend to be the University of Ohio,
right,
and or Ohio State University, and announce there's a school shooting and everyone should fucking run and hide. All right. I saw one city has like 8 different police Twitter accounts now, and all of them are claiming to be the real one, and they're all arguing with each other about who the real police are. So, like, when there's a disaster or a manufactured disaster, how are we going to know, right? Mm-hmm. This is just fucking chaos, and it's stupid. Like, I saw like real unverified Charlie Sheen arguing with fake verified Klay Thompson last night, and I'm not sure which one's dumber. That's 2 Charlie Sheen mentions on one episode of the Skews in 2023. So I just want to keep track of that. So he got rid of the verification, which is a fucking nightmare for anybody who wants to be able to follow the news in real time, like me. He did this in order to try to make people pay the $8 because he's collapsed Twitter's ad income by like 90% by being a humongous dipshit interpersonally, but also because of letting the Nazis and scammers back on. Companies don't want their ads next to Nazi shit, right? It's bad for the brand. So if you're wondering how much money this has netted him, trying to force people to sign up, the first day had 28 signups. He spent $44 billion to turn away 90% of advertising and a plan to make $224.
Yeah.
America's
just like
smartest
he grew
man.
it up. Right.
Which is like, you talking about the people that don't want to buy the blue check just because Twitter, because Elon wants them to. That's absolutely true. Like, people don't like him personally if you spend time on Twitter. That's a weird thing. Is like, there was a public polling about his popularity, and America overall is pretty popular. Like 49% of people like Elon Musk a lot, either some or a lot, and only 30% of people have a distaste for him. But the people who interact with him the most, the people whose tweets he literally replies to, they can read what he's thinking and writing all day, every day, fucking hate his guts. So if that tells you anything at all about the myth of what rich people are actually like. So if you're wondering what it's like, what his presence on there is like, since he bought Twitter, he's made a hard right turn in his political presentation of himself, which you've talked about before, and he's been incredibly unfunny about it. He's the least funny motherfucker on earth, which is really the basis of all this. He's taking away people's jobs. He fired people. He's stiffing businesses on. He's not paying rent on his headquarters. He publicly mocked and sent his sycophantic fans after the disabled employee that he laid off. He surrounded himself with a bunch of people who spent all weekend on Twitter scolding everyone else for not paying the $8. Like, he's talking about how unpopular he is on Twitter. He posted a poll about whether or not he should be the CEO of Twitter, remain the CEO of Twitter. He lost it like 92-8.
Mm-hmm.
And then he announced that only people who pay for Twitter Blue can vote in polls now.
Right.
He's Saddam Husseining his election.
Yeah.
He's just a deeply weird guy. Last night, someone he tweeted a screen grab that accidentally revealed he has a private alt account, and someone tracked it down. He posts stuff. He responds to people saying, like, "Do you like Japanese girls?" But he also posts in the voice of his 3-year-old son X. He's just a fucking huge weirdo. And this is a quote at the end of the story. The last night the story hit for me because, like Trey mentioned earlier, his press office basically doesn't exist. If you email their press office, you get an auto reply with just a poop emoji. Gizmodo reached out to Twitter's press office for comment, but received the poop emoji in response. That's everything. All right.
Yep.
So Yeah, this is all just very fucking frustrating. But yeah, he turned the blue bark into a scarlet. It's a scarlet letter now. We gotta, but the main thing is like all this might be illegal because he started putting blue checks back on celebrity accounts, which implied an endorsement. All celebrities immediately started announcing they did not fucking pay for this shit and do not want to be associated with it. So he's already been hit. Twitter's already operating under FTC consent decree. He's not supposed to be doing any of this. He should be in whatever rich finance jail is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry, I lost track of time. I didn't realize we were already 6.
That's all good. All good. A lot to cover. A lot to get into. A lot of railing to do on Elon Musk, which he very much deserves. So it's all good. But that will do it for this week's episode. Remind y'all quickly, TreyCrowder.com. Check out my special and also the tickets to my shows. Please come see me live. And weeklyskews.com/more to sign up on Patreon and support the show and get some bonus episodes for your trouble. We would appreciate it. And most importantly, keep coming back every Skews day, and we will too. We'll see you next week. See you. Love you. Bye.